decided I don't want this plant anymore. So I will say it's very normal to go through phases in your plant journey of liking certain plants and realizing that you don't like that plant anymore. It's normal, but as soon as you start to get the ick for a plant, start making arrangements to get rid of it or move it out of your house, or just prepare for it to be thrown away or something like that. And you can use the pot for a new plant that you love even more. I just wouldn't waste your time and energy on a plant that you don't really love anyway, because if the plant, it feels like a burden, you're not going to give it the best care that it deserves, and it's going to look worse and worse and worse. So get rid of it once you start feeling that way, or just toss it if it's not a high value plant that you feel like you could get some money for, you know, to compensate yourself back for that decision that you made. Now, leading into this, my second point is to not buy a plant the moment that you see it. So this can be really hard, especially if you are an impulse purchaser, but I've talked a lot in the past about how buying plants and like houseplant ownership and all of those things can oftentimes disguise a shopping addiction or just like a need to spend money just to spend money, or just get new things just to get new things. And we don't really look at it as much because owning plants is fun. It's great. It's this really good thing that we can do for ourselves. And I feel like it gets overlooked because of that. But there definitely are a lot of people in the plant community who have shopping addictions, or they have poor impulse control, myself included, poor impulse control. So that's why I have this rule for myself that if I see a plant that I really like at the nursery and it's the first time I've ever seen this plant, never heard of it, or I've never seen it in person before, and I immediately want to buy it, I'm not going to pick it up right away and go to the register and leave. You know, I'm going to wait a few days, maybe a few hours, maybe at the very least walk around the entire nursery and keep coming by that plant over and over again to see if it's still sparking that same joy that I got when I first saw it for the first time. Because I think that fangirling over plants that you've only seen online when you finally see them in person is very, very common. It's something that I experience for sure. And I have been led into situations where I saw this plant that I've seen online and really loved it, bought it, brought it home, and immediately was not the plant for me. So yeah, if you're not doing any research about the plants before you buy them, this will probably happen to you all the time, because you're going to realize that your home can only host certain types of plants, certain amounts of plants. For me, I can't do plants that are like mega thirsty, need mega humidity, need mega attention. So like ferns, calathea, that kind of stuff. I do have a Gopurtia back there, but I have one and it's super chill, doesn't really need a lot from me. But if I do have any needy plants, I only have a couple of them because I just don't have the time and energy to dedicate to a bunch of needy plants that, like, needy means they need something from you, but yeah, a bunch of plants that need things from me. I can't do it. I don't want to. And I've realized over years of collecting houseplants that I just can't do it. Even though this is literally my job, I just still can't do it. I don't have the capacity to be constantly watering a plant or checking on it. It's just not for me. So when you see a plant that you really like, or you have seen it online and you're finally seeing it for the first time in person, take some time to like breathe through the experience and walk away. Even if it's just for a few minutes, you know, if it's a situation where you're just positive there's only one left and you're not going to be able to get it again if you don't buy it right now, which I will say there are situations like that, like if it's selling really quickly, take as much time as you can before you pick up the plant and buy it to really consider if this is the plant for you, if you've done the proper research to understand what it needs, etc. All this type of stuff. I just really want to help you avoid making, at the end of the day, financial decisions that are not good for yourself. They're not smart in the end, because plants are investments. And I never am like, well, I'm not gonna say I'm never upset when a plant dies, but I'm rarely like upset to the point of regret if a plant does die in my care, because I've learned a lesson. So I don't really see plants as necessarily like materialistic objects that I can like, well, they are materialistic objects that I can collect, but I see it a little bit differently in that I see each plant as a lesson that it's actively teaching me. So with my ficus, I am actively learning to just let go of the idea of a full, beautiful plant all the time, because my ficus really only look good in the summertime when they're outside. When I bring them in for the winter, they look really scraggly and bad, but then as soon as I put them outside, they're happy again. So that plant has helped me to just like let go of this idea of a plant that looks good year round. And I don't know, there's plenty of other plants that have taught me lessons like that. And I think it's really important to see your plant collection as a collection of lessons and a collection of knowledge to be learned. That's really how I get through those hard days when I have killed a plant, either accidentally or a pest or something like that happened. So definitely take your time when purchasing. Really try to avoid impulse purchases, because in the end you're going to be a lot happier with your collection if you've taken the time to curate it in a way that is going to be beneficial to you and to the plant. This video is sponsored by Casetify, so let's have a chat about them. So if you're not familiar with Casetify, they are the world's most popular tech accessory brand, known for their protective cases that also look really nice. This is like one of my favorite cases I've ever gotten from them. It's so beautiful. They have so many different print options from artists across the globe. It's really awesome. They have like a whole section on their website where you can look through just these. I have a lot of cases from artists that I just absolutely love. If you're looking for a phone case that is like extra protective, they have a new phone case type called the Bounce case. As you can see, they have these bumpers on the sides. This is their EcoShock technology, which makes these cases drop test approved up to 21 feet, which is insane. That is 6 times military grade protection. There are also options to customize your case. So this one I just had made with DLP on it. Casetify has also released clear cases for a bit more of a low profile. They are their slimmest case with tactile buttons and a comfy grip. Also, what's nice about these cases is they have long-lasting clarity with UV Defender technology, and they're anti-yellowing, so they're gonna look nice and clear the whole time you have them. And Casetify has lots of really fun accessories like these phone charms for you to wrap around your hand, have a little festive moment. I also have like a really cute gold chain that I can hook onto my phone and you sort of like wear my phone. If you're interested in checking out Casetify, you can head to casetify.com/plants for 15% off your order. I'm gonna have everything linked down below and would love to see you check them out. Okay, now depending on how your collection is set up, this one might be a little bit more difficult, but this rule really helps, and that rule is to not let your plants touch each other. Now, I learned the hard way that pests will transfer from plant to plant if the leaves are touching each other and if they're like really tightly clustered together. So there is definitely truth in when plants are clustered tightly together, there's more like ambient humidity. They're like, you know, symbiotically helping each other out. They're like putting moisture in the air right around each other. If you're going on trips, this is a really great way to help sort of reduce the amount of water that the plant is using, because they're bunched up together, so the moisture is sort of staying in this dome of plants. But I will say a negative to this is that pests can transfer very easily. I learned this the hard way again in my early plant collection when I first found spider mites. It's a whole saga. I have a video that I posted like a very long time ago of a story time of the first time I ever had spider mites, and then I have lots of videos on how I've cared for them since then. But spider mites is pretty much the pest that I deal with on a regular basis. As long as I'm using a systemic, I don't deal with it as much, but they do pop up. Let's say like every couple months I'll find a couple plants with spider mites, which again I want to say is completely normal. Having pests is a very normal part of owning plants. I mean, not every plant is always going to be in pristine pestless condition, and the sooner that you realize that, the better, because you can stop like feeling bad about it and just find ways to fix it. And I honestly think that that makes a better plant parent, when you can identify that you have a pest and fix it, rather than having blinders on and like not realizing that your entire collection is infested. So yeah, that's what I was for a long time. I was like completely in denial that I could ever have a pest, because I just thought, well, that's not gonna happen to me. Until it did, over my entire plant collection. So many of my plants were overlapping and touching each other. And while this is a really beautiful look, you are definitely just like asking for pests to just have a field day in your collection. Now, I will say that it's definitely possible to have plants that are not infested with pests if you have them all touching. I'm just gonna say that it's definitely possible, because I do have a few up here on this wall that are quite intertwined, my hanging plants up here. But because I use a systemic and I'm checking my plants on the regular, I'm able to identify when they do get a pest before it spreads. So yeah, just knowing what